Yes, please.
Hi there, my name is Emma Hall, and I'm in the 6th grade.
Hi, my name is Maggie Franklin. I'm in 8th grade, and I'm the vice president.
Hi, my name is Allie Grace Newton, and I'm your 8th grade representative.
My name is Jay Patterson. I'm your 8th grade sergeant at arms.
Hey, my name's Maddox Franklin, and I'm in 6th grade.
My name's Will Franks. I'm in 8th grade, and I'm the council president.
Hi, my name is Sarah Welch, and I'm the 6th grade representative.
Hi, my name is Claire Bradford, and I'm a 6th grade representative.
Hi, I'm Bailey Casey, and I'm the 8th grade student body president.
Please bow your heads for our prayer. Our most gracious Heavenly Father, we're so thankful for the opportunity to gather here tonight. We're thankful to have been chosen as leaders of Highland Rim School. We ask for your direction and guidance as we work together on ideas and decisions for our school system. May we be a shining example of your goodness and truth. For it is in your name we pray. Amen.
Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Attention, salute, pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Today, I would like to highlight some of the things our council has done this year. Last May, our council hosted the district picnic where all of the student councils in the district came to Highland Rim. We gave tours and later went to Lion Farms. In November, we hosted our annual Veterans Day program. Veterans from our community were invited to listen to elementary students sing patriotic songs, and the student council led the program. After the program, the veterans were invited to a brunch hosted by the student council. Every year, we sponsor the school food drive. This year, each homeroom collected blessing boxes filled with groceries. When parents of Highland Rim students came to pick up Angel Tree gifts, we gave the families a box of groceries. We gave the extra boxes to Provision Port, and these were given to families around the county that needed them. Approximately 100 families benefited from these donations. In December, we held our annual toy drive for the Elk Valley Times. This year, we collected 4 boxes filled with new toys. Our council is a member of the Tennessee Association of Student Councils. Last April, we went to Wilson Central High School in Lebanon, Tennessee for our state convention. This year, we are going to Houston High School in Memphis. We will be competing in many state competitions, including 4-star council, scrapbook, t-shirt, and essay competitions. 4 members will receive the Rising Star Award based on points accumulated over the past 3 years. A Member of the Year and Above and Beyond awards will be presented based on votes from our council. In April, we, along with our Beta Club, will participate in the Blue Ribbon Walk to help raise money for Junior's House. Thank you.
Thank y'all. Miss Casey, thank y'all.
Thank you.
Mr. Posey, can you hear all right?
Yes, sir.
At this time, we'll begin the March 2nd, 2020 Lincoln County School Board meeting. We have Mr. Kevin Posey will be Skyping in this evening with us in compliance with the Tennessee School Board, and the state laws passed when somebody's out on business, they can still Skype in to be part of the board meeting and vote as if they were present. Also, do we have any guests here from Leadership Lincoln? If y'all would stand and tell us who you are and what school you're from.
I'll start. I'm Nick Bradley, and I'm from Lincoln County High School, and I'm a senior.
I'm Riley Pruitt. I'm from Lincoln County High School, and I'm a junior.
I'm Millie Carrington. I'm from Lincoln County High School, and I'm also a junior.
I'm Gary Davis. I'm from Benton City High School, and I'm a junior.
Thank y'all. At this time, item 1 on the agenda is consider approval of February 1st, 2020 board minutes. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Mr. Tucker moves. Mr. Bradley second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed likewise. And before I proceed further, there is one item I want to welcome back, is Miss Veronica King. I'm too worried about Skype and forget, she is now the newly appointed board member that replaced Miss Carla Buchanan, and we're glad to have you back. You're no stranger to the school board system, and we appreciate you being back on board with us. Next item is consider approval of agenda per policy 1.403. Dr. Heath?
I don't have anything to add. No.
I was going to add under A, if it's all right, Mr. Tucker, the report of the pay scale committee, and then we'll address a motion on the appointment for Mr. Posey's policy committee as B. Anybody else got anything to add?
Do we need to appoint someone to Susan's on the pay scale committee?
Yeah, that's what I'm going to do with that. At B.
Both of them.
Yeah, that will be that appointment.
Okay.
Anybody else got anything? Do I have a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
We got a tie. Mr. Tucker and or Mr. Collins made the motion. Mr. Tucker second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed likewise. Motion carries. At this time, item 3 on the agenda is recognitions by Dr. Heath.
All right, we have, we're going to recognize our district teachers of the year, district level support staff member of the month, and retired educator of the month. Let's start out with the district level support staff member of the month, Mr. Luna.
So this month I am very proud to present this to, she kind of falls in between a couple departments, but Miss Tracy Pitts, if you would, come up here, Tracy. Come on up. Get on camera here with us. We know you love cameras. For those of you who don't know Tracy or haven't had to deal with Tracy much, Tracy deals with the, terrible words to say, Power School, but the student information systems, and this touches almost every aspect of everything we do inside the school system. It really helps us get our BEP funding. All of the attendance goes through with this, and Tracy unfortunately has to deal with all of it all by herself. I'll tell you, in my prior job I had to do what Tracy did plus what I do now, so it's a very big job. I can't tell you how thankful I am to have Tracy here. It affects everything from special ed funding, the cafeteria funding, and Tracy has to deal with it all, and she handles it without any reservations. She started in 1998 as an EA, and she moved over into this position in 2005. Me and Tracy worked together for several years, even before I came on board here with Lincoln County. I truly do not know what we would do without Tracy. It's rare in my field where I can just turn loose of something and I don't have to worry about it. Somebody will ask me if something's going on with Power School or Chalkable or whatever, and I don't know. Tracy really takes care of it. It's truly rare in these day and times to just be able to turn something loose, and it is her program most of the time. So Tracy, I really do appreciate all you do for us, and I'm glad I don't have to do that part of the job. Thank you for making all of us look good, and we really appreciate all that you do. Thank you very much.
And now to recognize our retired educator of the month, board member Mr. Jared Bradley.
I'm very honored to give this award tonight to Ms. Horton. She has taught here for Lincoln County Schools for 38 years and coached. Let's see, she taught at 8th District for 5 years, Lincoln County High School for 3 years, Flipville for 25 years, 9th grade for 5 years. And she, which is married to Mike Horton. Her daughter Whitney is a softball coach at Millington Central High School in West Tennessee. Very honored. Thank you.
Thank you.
And now to recognize our district level Teachers of the Year. Listen to this. I'd like to introduce to you Dr. John Fanning. Dr. Fanning, congratulations. Before he gets started, John defended his dissertation last week very successfully, and he went to Nashville as Mr. Fanning and came home as Dr. Fanning. So congratulations, John.
Thank you. Thank you. Miss Renee Pryor was going to do this tonight, but she has been battling the flu, and today she's battling a migraine, so she asked me to pitch hit for her. So at this time, I'm going to ask for Miss Liz Durham to come forth. Liz Durham is our pre-K 4th grade Teacher of the Year. She's got 10 years teaching experience. From 2010 to 2017, she was a kindergarten teacher at Ralph Askin School. Presently, she's a 1st grade teacher at Unity. Liz considers her classroom to be a big family and everyone helps each other out. She sets high goals for student achievement and encourages and praises them until they reach that goal. It is amazing to see what each student can do when you set a goal for them and believe in them. Liz has played an integral part in the implementation of CKLA curriculum at Unity. She was one of the first to pilot the new curriculum and now enjoys collaborating with other 1st grade teachers across the district as everyone is implementing CKLA in the classrooms. She feels like collaboration with other teachers in her school contributed to improvement in school culture. And it is great to have Liz in the school system. As a former principal, I tried to steal her. She wouldn't come for me. But I'm glad she's here. So Miss Liz Durham, congratulations, Pre-K 4 Teacher of the Year. If Miss McLean Witt come forward. I can really hear what she. Miss Witt is our 5th through 8th grade Teacher of the Year. She's got 9 years teaching experience. 2010 to 2017, she was a middle school ELA teacher for Fayetteville City. Presently, she's an 8th grade ELA teacher at Highland Rim. Students love music. They remember every word to a song but cannot remember basic English standards. But leave it up to Miss Witt, she takes care of it. Therefore, after being stunned by visiting the Ron Clark Academy and its effect on comprehension and fun, she decided to create an English-based raps that covered several standards. Students stand in their seats, turn on the disco ball, play the instrument version of the song, and learn the lyrics and dance moves. During tests, students are caught nodding their heads and mouthing the lyrics of the song to help them. This tactic has resulted in students being able to recall information from the beginning of the school year. Buzz-worthy beads is another strategy she uses to show students that she cares and is constantly watching their action. A strand of beads is given plus a letter or a phone call home to any student that she sees showing growth in grade, behavior, spreading kindness, and being responsible and respectful. She started the Be Kind Club at Highland Rim School for middle school students with the motto, start and ripple and watch it spread. This goal is to complete kindness projects such as reading books about kindness to elementary students, leaving sticky notes around the building with kind messages to lift others up, clean classrooms for teachers, and visited Donaldson's Skill to sing Christmas carols to residents and hand deliver 83 bags full of items. These are just a few of the activities that she and her students are involved in. McLean truly believes HRS has some of the most pure-hearted, caring students that have the initiative to build others up, sacrifice their time and energy, and put up with her crazy ideas to make others feel like they belong and build kindness, a kindness revolution in their school. Congratulations to Miss McLean Witt as our Middle School Teacher of the Year. And I'm going to have to get on to Miss Pryor because she left out something important. I gave Miss Witt her first job. Our next Teacher of the Year, Mr. Tim Bradford, if you'll come forward. Mr. Bradford is got 25 years of teaching experience, 19 years of teaching experience CT programs at LCHS. In 2018, students in the agricultural, mechanics, and principals of machining classes did a joint reverse engineering project that would later be entered in 2 different competitions at the state and national levels. These students took an already manufactured product and redesigned, built, painted, and tested a set of tractor splitting jacks. Using a plethora of STEAM skills, they produced a product that was tested and found to be safer and more efficient than the original design. By using math, science, and geometry in a hands-on activity on a daily basis, he has seen an improvement in math, science grades, and students realize a real-life use for subjects they deem irrelevant to their lives. Abby Williams, Zach Snoddy, and Gentry Helms entered the split and reverse engineering project in 2 competitions. They placed second in the Tennessee State FFA Bullpen Career Development Event and first in the Tennessee State Agriculture Mechanics and Power Structure Agri-Science Fair. They also competed at the national levels and were awarded gold status and placed 4th in the nation. In 2003, with 15 acres of unproductive land on the LCHS campus, Mr. Bradford approached the principal with an idea that would change the aesthetics of the campus, the learning environment, and the FFA student organization. With extensive planning and support of the FFA advisors and students, they embarked on a journey that continues to be a great source of hands-on education experiences for students. In the spring 2004, the crop produced 700 bales and 28 rolls that were marketed by students and sold and delivered to area farmers. Today, the field is planted in a corn and soybean rotation, and the program partners with the Lincoln Farmers Co-op in conducting test plots of various seeds, chemicals, and fertilizer. It is now used as an outdoor classroom lab for high school students as well as adults. Approximately 150 students per semester are able to observe and utilize the field from planting, harvesting, and marking the crop. Ms. Pryor and I had the great privilege of working and knowing Mr. Brad for a long time, and I can say he's one that where students are always engaged, and it was always a pleasure to work with him. Congratulations.
Thank you, Dr. Fanning, and just for the board, I have, over the last 3 or 4 years, I've had the opportunity either to be in those folks' classrooms or to be in meetings where they're meeting with their peers and other teachers and seeing them interact with their colleagues, or watching them work with kids in some other capacity. And Lincoln County Schools is going to be finally represented at the next level of competition by these 3 folks. So congratulations to all 3 of you.
Next on the agenda is Student Board Representative Report. Mr. Andrew Dixon.
It's been busy lately at Lincoln County High School. Basketball season just wrapped up recently. Last week we had an open house for all 8th graders, and all the clubs were there, and the 8th graders were given their registration cards. Everyone was excited. The kids at Lincoln County right now are registering for the next school year. Last week we had FFA week, and this week we've been having, our debate team has been hosting a fundraiser for their state conference in April, where they're doing an election fundraiser, so people are choosing which candidate they like the best with their money in honor of Super Tuesday tomorrow. So that's all that I have.
Mr. Sahil Patel is also, he's not able to be with us tonight, but he is our Lincoln County High School valedictorian this year, so recognize him. Next on the agenda, Dr. Heath, is our update on construction at Lincoln County High School and the blank sites from Lashley Rich.
Yeah, Mr. Bryant. Ricky, go ahead and introduce our folks here. Yeah.
We've got Billy Hill Jr. here. He's all the way from Humboldt. He drove all the way in for this tonight, so I'll just let him give you an update on where we are.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. And I want to introduce Joe Wheeler is our superintendent at the high school. We didn't ask Ben Nanny, the guy that's over Blanks, to attend, but Joe's our everyday superintendent in the field at the high school. So I think Ricky had asked us to give an update on both projects. Start out with the high school. We're, I won't say that we're behind, but I would say that we're slowly getting in trouble with the rain. We've had 46 rain days since we started. We were 6 weeks late on getting started, but we had 2 critical paths on our schedule. One was having to be ready for the masonry to start laying the masonry walls on February the 10th, and we accomplished that goal, and they started laying walls on February 10th, even with all the rain. Our next critical path is being able to get the roof on that on the high school, and that date is scheduled for April the 6th. Right now on paper it says that we're on target for that to happen. We just need some prayers and try to slow down this rain a little bit to give us some help. I mean, 46 rain days since November is a lot of rain. So having said all that, with the 6 weeks that we started out behind, that puts us sometime in September, but we still feel if the rain will stop that we're going to do everything in our power, and we think we can still have that school ready to open in August. So any questions on the high school?
When you say in August, in early August
Well,
or late August?
No, sir, early August. Our tentative date for the State Fire Marshal review to come in and inspect and the architect to inspect is in the middle toward the end of July. As long as we pass that inspection, what we call substantial completion, meaning the building is ready to occupy for what it was built for, not necessarily mean we're 100%, but it would be ready for you all to start using in August of 2020. The renovations part, of course, we can't start that till June the 1st. So we think we got a plan, a good plan, and we can get that area ready as well.
Well, many of these here at the table, and some of them are in construction, no construction. You know, when we've driven by until a few weeks ago, you know, you get there at 67 degrees and it's sunshine and nobody's there at 12 o'clock on Friday. And in this community and area, we want, you know, that's the reason we question, well, why are you not there? Now you're starting to see it work on Saturdays. Is there a reason?
Well, this being science lab, that's the most complicated underground portion of a school. The entire school is a science lab. It's a lot of underground that has to go in. It's a lot of special piping. We hit some foundations at the existing school that wasn't shown on the drawings to be correct, that slowed us down a little bit, but we eventually got through all that and got everything that we needed. And like I said, our date was February 10th to be able to start laying masonry walls, and we made that happen. So, and yes, we are working. Joe and them work Saturday and Sunday the last 2 weekends, and we'll continue doing that as long as we're losing days during the week. So, I can't answer your question about a 70-degree day and us not out there. We certainly should have been there. And it could have been material being ordered or, you know.
I think the plumber had to go he had a heart attack and he had to go back home, which is a 5-hour drive, to get his medicine on that, I think that particular day.
Has anybody else got anything?
Yeah, just a quick question on those 2 benchmark days that you have those always been the same dates?
They've always been those 2 dates.
Okay.
February 10th for the masonry. Now, there were some other things that should have been done prior to them starting, but at least we got an area ready that they could start.
Sure.
We have now completed all the concrete slabs, finished pouring those Saturday. The block masons had 7 or 8 masons Saturday and Sunday laying, so, and you can see a big improvement out there, and we'll continue improving that. And the next critical date is April the 6th, is hitting that goal to be ready to start the roof. Once we get the roof on, then we ain't got no more excuses for rain or anything else. So,
on the blanks, did the walls coming, did that mess you up anything wise, foundation wise, or was it just purely the walls themselves at Blanche?
You're talking about the storm?
Right.
No, because there's a separation wall. It's a smoke wall that separates the first part, which is a part of that building. And so we're able to start at that smoke wall going on through part A, B, and C. So we've just kind of left that like it is until the insurance will give us permission to clean up. And I gave Ricky an estimate tonight when I got here so that he can get with the insurance. And, but no, we don't, I don't want to say that it's not going to affect us at some point in time. The three trades that's involved in that, major trades, is the masons, the truss folks, and the roofers. And two of those three trades has promised us that they will keep the same crew on site moving forward. When the insurance allows us to start where the storm blowed over, bring in an entirely different crew just to get that caught back up. So if that happens, and again, rain, in fact, we're ahead of schedule out there.
Well, yeah,
with the storm.
We knew out there you were well. One we were really concerned about and trying to meet our timelines was a STEM deal at the high school. And we pretty much knew we were ahead at Blanche with no issues.
Yeah, I know that there's been, just in the community, just listening to people, that they're comparing the high school to the Blanche as far as construction. There's two different projects. Again, the science lab and that entire building is y'all's new science lab is the most difficult portion of a building that you could construct. So we got the underground in, moving up with the walls, and so I think we can get there.
With having the Blanche site ahead of schedule, is there a possibility of bringing some of the crews from that site to the high school site to?
There's very few trades. Yeah, there's very few trades that was awarded part of the projects. The concrete guy is the same, and he did pull me in from Blanche to help get this slab poured Friday or Saturday. But there's very few trades. We bid the job separately, and they were awarded to multiple.
Is there a possibility of bringing crews in at night? Days?
If we had to.
Just the importance of getting that site ready to open in August, that we could. I know working weekends is one step, but
sure. We didn't have in the bid documents to have the subcontractors to bid overtime or nighttime work. They are doing that. They're all complaining that they're doing it already. But yes, sometimes we do that. Right. And there may be a premium that somebody has to pay if we see that we're getting in trouble. But I really think if it'll stop raining and we can get a roof on, and Joe don't mind working 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, I think we can get there. I really do. I feel confident. I think I told Dr. Heath in the beginning that even with the 6 weeks that it was delayed due to the drawings and just getting approval and everything, that we still felt like we had a chance to get y'all in this thing in August. So.
And that includes all the work on the inside, because if that's hampered, then that, with the construction of the STEM pod and also the work on the inside, there's no way school can get started on time if that's not completed on the inside.
Yeah, I think we had talked to Ricky or someone about if the existing classrooms that we're renovating starting June 1 is the first time we go in there. So that only gives us 8 weeks to do major renovations in there. So I think that if we needed it, could be a few weeks given to us, but we're going to still push and push to try to make that happen. We've got in fact, I got it in here, a schedule, and everybody's lined up for that June 1 date. So.
Okay.
And I don't know if any of you's been through the front entrance or not, but the new little office is constructed, and we're going to try to wrap that up on y'all's spring break, March the 16th, put the glass and the windows and all that stuff in there. So, and that wasn't even scheduled to begin till June 1st. So
it was in the dry.
It was in the dry. That is right.
Anybody else got anything? Mr. Posey? Thank y'all.
Thank you.
Next item that we added would be the pay scale committee. Mr. Tucker, can you just give us an update maybe of what y'all are looking at and thought process?
We did meet today, the committee on the pay scale, and as of right now, no decisions have been made due to the upcoming budget and money available. So we're going to look back into it in April.
Okay.
And then we'll bring it back before the board then.
The next two items have to do with appointments by standing committee, and one of them, between Ms. Karen and Johnny and Mr. Collins, Mr. Tucker, I understand on both we have two appointments. First one would, and I slipped through this one last time, I should have had it on there then, is Mr. Posey had noted that whoever slides off his committee from that district, the person that comes back on, have that position, and Mr. Rex Dunn. So I wanted to make a motion to appoint Mr. Dunn to the policy committee.
So move.
Second. And Mr. Posey second. Mr. Tucker made the motion. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed likewise. Motion carries. Congratulations, Mr. Dunn. The next one is the pay scale committee. As Ms. Buchanan was on the original committee of it, and I make a recommendation to appoint Ms. Veronica King. It'd be all right for you to be on that pay scale committee.
Make a recommendation.
Mr. Collins makes a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Tucker second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed likewise. Motion carries. Thank y'all. The next item, Mr. Posey, is the actual policy committee. And I don't know, Mr. Fanning.
Earlier in the policy committee, there was 4 policies that we were wanting to put forth tonight on first reading. So it's policy 3.212, policy 4.201, policy 4.802, policy 6.411. Do we have a motion to approve for first reading?
I'll make a motion.
Second?
I'll second.
Mr. Bradley makes a motion, Mr. Tucker second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed likewise. Motion carries. That's all the committee tonight. Next item is consider acceptance of the director's evaluation. I think all of that had been put on the drive from the 2019. We have it in 5 categories: achievement and growth, organizational management, instructional leadership, ethics and integrity, and communications. And then we just, as the consensus that we went through it, and the achievement growth, I think, 4 years in a row now, South Central.
At the highest, yes, in South Central core region.
So the organizational management, the structure, and then in the organizational management, that all ties in achievement and growth as well. Instructional leadership, all of that ties exemplary or competent, is all exemplary, especially in organizational management. You get the communications and the ethics and integrity, which you say ethics and integrity today, you think something's different or wrong. Anytime something comes up of issues that's in the community, whether it be one way or the other, and in our interpretations that each board member gets and conveys, and those type deals, we're about the middle of the road there. So the overall evaluation is what we've been expecting and needing in the direction of the school system. Dr. Heath, any?
No, I mean, I think we talked about it at the retreat, or, everything's good.
Anybody else have any comment? Do I have a motion to accept the evaluation?
Don't move.
Mr. Tucker, motion to, Mr. Bradley, second. All in favor, please say aye. Opposed likewise. Motion carries to accept. Next one, Dr. Heath, if you'll walk us through, consider approval of the board 5-year plan.
Yeah, we had this at our retreat, and if you recall, I said we need to get the board to give final approval on this. Ms. Pryor's not able to be here tonight. She usually heads this up for us, but you guys have had this for over a month now, and I really haven't had any feedback. We went over all the changes that Saturday at the retreat, so I would recommend approval.
Make a motion to approve.
Mr. Collins makes a motion to approve. Do I have a second? Mr. Bradley, second. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed likewise. Motion to accept the 5-year plan carries. Next item is surplus equipment, a list from the special ed department. Dr. Heath, any?
No, you had that in your drive, I guess, so recommend approval.
Make a motion to approve.
Mr. Dunn make a motion to approve. Need a second?
Second.
Mr. Tucker, second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed likewise. Motion carries. The next item is consider approval request surplus of library books from Blanche Library. Same deal, it's on the drive. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Mr. Posey moves to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Tucker, second. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed likewise. Motion carries. Next item is consider approval request to surplus the LCS Trap Team tongue twister. LCS Trap Team trailer with the stipulation that once surplus, the trailer will be sold according to the Finance Department procedures, and the proceeds are to benefit the Trap Team per policy 2.403. Dr. Heath.
I think I described this to you in one of the weekly updates, but the Trap Team, Lincoln County Trap Team, I think they have some land that's been donated for a permanent home now, so they're wanting to sell the surplus and sell the trailer and use those proceeds to build a permanent structure on the land that's been donated to them. And just working with Mr. Bradford, he said that you would need to approve of it being surplus and that the proceeds go back to the Trap Team. So, if you in your motion, it needs to say both of those things.
Entertain a motion.
Make a motion we approve the sale of the trailer from the Trap Team, and proceeds of the sale go back to the Trap Team.
Do I have a second? Second. Mr. Bradley, second. We need to roll call. Yes, roll call this if some money's involved.
Mr. Tucker?
Yes.
Mr. Posey? Mr. Dunn? Mr. Collins?
Aye.
Mrs. King?
Aye.
Mr. Bradley?
Aye.
Mr. Stevenson?
Aye. Proceed. 7, 1 absent, motion carries. Next item on the agenda is consider approval of E-rate contracts. Mr. Looney.
So hopefully y'all have had a chance to look over what I sent to the board. Actually, after talking to Mr. Bradford, these are actually state contracts. We probably really didn't have to get these approved by the board. But it's okay. It never hurts to get them approved. So, but these are one of the big ones is for the wiring of both the new Blank School and the high school. This is going to allow us to use some grant money, the E-rate money, to pay for part of that network. So it will help us out a little bit on our building programs. It'll save us a little bit of money on those, and every little bit helps. And then on the internet bid, for some reason, AT&T did not want to honor my last option to renew my internet contract this year. They said something about it not being the lowest possible price they can give me, and then they responded back to my new mini bid with a higher price. So now they're going back and going, well, maybe we can. So we're going to go ahead and ask for approval on this contract from AT&T as well. If they get me my other contract approved, we won't utilize this contract, and we'll go back out for a full bid next year anyway. So I'll answer any questions you may have on these 3 contracts.
Any questions?
Does that need to be stated that way? That if he comes back with another contract, that no longer good? If they come back with a little bid?
If it's state contract, did you check,
Okay.
And really, as long as Dr. Heath doesn't sign it, it's not an enforceable contract anyway, I don't think, so.
we'll do it every how y'all want to do it.
Fine. I'm good with it.
Do I have a motion to accept the E-rate?
We'll move.
Mr. Tucker makes a motion.
Second.
Mr. King, second. Roll call, please, move.
Mr. Posey? Mr. Dunn? Mr. Collins? Mrs. King? Mr. Bradley? Mr. Stevenson?
Aye.
Mr. Tucker?
Aye.
7 and 1 absent.
7-1 absent, motion carries. We appreciate Mr. Loomis. Thank you. Next item is consider approval of implementation of program concerning out-of-zone student enrollment. Dr. Heath?
Yeah, first of all, let me say this, that should probably read out of district, not out of zone. But I just caught that, sorry about that. Again, this was presented to you at the retreat. It's gone through all the vetting through our administrative teams. The idea is here, like Mr. Stevenson said earlier, for 4 straight years now, Lincoln County Schools has had the highest test scores in all of South Central Tennessee. And I get calls on a regular basis of parents who want their kids to enroll in our school system, whether that be from other districts or from North Alabama. And so I thought we better put into place some procedures to help safeguard the integrity of our system, and that's what I've developed here. And basically, the parents and students of kids that do not live in Lincoln County Schools District. Now our school district, just for your information, is everything within Lincoln County that's outside the city limits. So if a child lives anywhere else, whether that's in the city limits or in any county around us, what we'd like to do is have these procedures in place where parents and students would sign a contract that basically says that they will be attending school proper attendance, and unacceptable attendance will be defined as missing 10% or more, being chronically absent, as defined by the State Department. Also, proper behavior, unacceptable behavior would be having 1 or more suspensions of any kind during the school year, and lack of performance, academic performance will be failing more than 1 class. So students who do not live in our district who come to us would be under this contract for the next school year. And they're good with us for the school year. We work with them in order to come back the following year. They would have to reapply again. And as long as none of those things were an issue, we're fine. But if any of those things were issues, then we'd have a committee sit down and meet with the parent and the student to see if we're going to grant them enrollment for the following year. So that's what this is. There's no tuition involved of any kind. It's simply an application process for students who do not live in Lincoln County Schools District to attend Lincoln County Schools. Okay. Dr. Fanning and I did look. There's nowhere in policy that anything we need to add. We feel like the policy is already there that allows the director to put these things into place. I just want your blessing because this is a big change. And there's been a little confusion just within our staff talking about it the other day. There was a little concern about out of zone versus out of district. So if a kid lives by Unity School and for some reason goes to Blanche, they're still in our district. That's not who we're talking about here. We're talking about students who do not live in Lincoln County Schools District, period. So the only exception to this would be out of state. There's a state law that prohibits out of state folks unless there's an agreement with each individual county out of state. And the state law does say that they would have to pay a tuition equal to the state dollars that come in for that child, so that would be, I don't know, estimate $7,000 a child. So, so out of state, really, this does not apply for them unless they wanted to pay that tuition, and they would have to fill this out also.
The only question I've got is on keeping up with it. Is there a way the system will flag that so they know next year to have another contract done? I forgot.
Well, we are working on that as we speak. I wanted to get your blessing on it so we can start proceeding, because we are starting registration for next year already.
Somebody else can.
Good question, though.
I make a motion that we accept the adoption of the admittance
These
form
policies.
for the out-of-district students coming into our school system.
Mr. Collins makes a motion. Do I have a second? Mr. Bradley, second. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed likewise. Motion carries. Next item, I'll get my glasses on. Dr. Heath is consider approval of implementation of the homegrown teacher program.
If you recall, back actually at the February retreat of 2019 is when I first introduced this idea, and it's gone through a year of vetting and looking at what we maybe could include into a program where we're trying to attract our graduates to come back and work for us. There are a lot of things in this program and a lot of things that I think we can do to attract folks who are in our schools now to come back and work for us. If you guys will give the blessing on this, which again has been out there in your hands for a while. If you'll give the blessing for us to proceed, I'll be meeting with Montlow and some four-year institutions real soon, and would love to be able to meet with our current high school students and let them know that any of them that are interested in becoming a teacher, that we will have a program for them where they can actually live here in Lincoln County, go to school while they're living here, maybe even work for us on a part-time basis while they're getting their degree and their certification, and they'd get as much as a $15,000 bonus when they start working for us after they get their certification to be a teacher. There's 3 or 4 levels, where there's 3 levels in this program right now, ranging from $15,000 bonus to a $7,500 bonus. So, but I'd love to be able to get out and meet with some high school kids that may have this as an interest of theirs and show them what this is. So maybe they could get through the program while living here and not have any college debt, and get that extra money when they're hired.
Anybody got any questions?
Move to approve.
Mr. Posey makes a motion to approve.
A second.
Mr. Collins, second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed likewise. We appreciate the time put into that, and I think, as Stephen, it'll be well worth it in the long run.
Thank you.
The next item is consider approval or cancellation of the tuition agreement with Limestone County Schools. We tabled this in the January meeting. If I could get a motion to remove from the table.
I'll move.
Mr. Tucker moves to remove it from the table. Mr. Collins, second. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed likewise. Now we have a motion entertaining Dr. Heath to give a handout just recently as well.
I came by and put this on your stuff before the meeting started. So this one is dated February 18, 2020. Does everybody have that one? Because I know in the drive was one that was probably dated a month earlier. This just came in by email a couple of days ago. I guess this is when their board meeting was. Let me just give you a quick history of this, because I've learned a lot about what this agreement was. I'd never heard of such a thing. But back in 1991, there was Lincoln County Board of Education went into an agreement with the Limestone County Board of Education that said basically any student living on the state line that, and their property borders Limestone County, Alabama, even though they live in Lincoln County, Tennessee, or if they live in the Ardmore city limits in Tennessee, then they could pay tuition and go to Limestone County schools instead of coming to Lincoln County schools. There are currently 7 kids in Ardmore schools right now in that situation. A couple of them, I believe, are seniors, And what prompted this was they started inquiring about how to get the Tennessee Promise. They wanted to go to college in Tennessee. So through some research, not on our end, but in Limestone County, they found out this agreement hadn't been signed since 1991. In working with them, the language in there actually said something along the lines that the Lincoln County Board of Education would pay the tuition to the Limestone County Board of Education. I said, well, we're not going to pay you guys tuition for Lincoln County residents to go to your schools. That's not going to happen. So they've taken that out. And basically, the way the procedure works, anybody that lives in those areas I just mentioned that chooses to go to those schools would actually pay tuition to the city of Ardmore, who for some reason then cuts a check to Giles County Schools, who then cuts a check to Limestone County. I don't know why it goes through those hands, something about 1991, but no money, and Cole's office had verified this, no money has ever gone through our books since this agreement was established. So it's been on the books for a while though. So I had full intent to ask you to let's nullify the agreement tonight until I receive this copy, which you now have, in which they took out that language that says we would pay. The students pay. There's nothing in here that binds us financially in any way. So really the question now is, do you want to grant permission? Do you want us to stay in that agreement for those students who live in that portion of our county to go to those schools versus coming to, we provide buses, they won't provide buses for them. So it's, the way I look at it is like this. If a child lived out on Highway 64 on the Giles County line, but in our county, if they went to a Giles County school, there's just some stipulations that they have to enroll by a certain date. None of these agreements, this wouldn't matter, but this is because it's another state is why this agreement has to be approved if we want to allow it. That's the only thing that's different. So I don't know, I just throw it out there for you.
How does this work on if there's any Limestone County kids that want to come to Lincoln County? Is there anything there that
they would have to pay tuition?
We've got a state law.
Okay.
Now, I guess I could ask the comptroller if there's any way around that, through an agreement with us. There could be. I don't know. I could seek that out if you wanted me to.
How is it working with Tennessee Promise?
Well,
it's like if they go there, they can still get Tennessee Promise because they live here?
They have to have this signed annually now for them to get the Tennessee Promise. If they live in Tennessee, but they graduate from an Alabama high school, and I guess that would be true if they went to, say, Pope John Paul in Huntsville, a private school. Same thing, I guess, because if they're a Tennessee resident, because of residency, they would apply. They can apply. Yeah, they would be able to apply for it. So.
And correct me if I'm just throwing this out here. If you wanted to, being a parent and where they're being and what they're doing, to say, not now, but if we wanted to make it on the students that are enrolled now, we would let that. But after they give us the names and the list, and after that last one, the contract becomes null and void, or we can approve it and go on.
Yeah,
it don't matter to me.
What's your recommendation?
So we're losing the state funding for those students.
Yeah.
They would be going there, right?
If those students would be coming to us, if they went homeschool or went over to Giles County High School, we wouldn't. So.
Yeah. Is this a 1 year? Is this a year to year?
Well, until we got till April 1st of the following year before the school year to change it.
Okay.
I tell you what I'd recommend. You asked me. I'd recommend approving this now because they do have, I think, one or two seniors, and asking them for a list of those students so we can see exactly who they are, what grade they're in, and then before April 1st of next year, ask them for an updated list and see if that's something that we want, we want to continue or not.
I get it to a point if they're right down there close to one of those schools to a point, but, they're trying to have the cake and eat it too.
I know.
From that side of the coin. But again, if it was home, I'm just,
Kinda act like we're promoting the out-of-state school by improving that.
Do we need to put that language in here that they would furnish a list each year prior to the renewal of the eligible students or the students who are applying?
I think number 5, I think, says that. Shall furnish written verification. Let's see. I think through number 5, we could request that. And if they refuse to give it to us, we're gonna nullify it before April 1st for the following year anyway. So.
I don't think we should penalize those students that's already there that spent the time at that high school.
I think actually a couple of the kids are in elementary, by the way.
but
I don't think they're all in high school. I think 1 or 2 are seniors. A total of 4 or 5 are at the high school, and 2 are at some elementary school.
approve it subject to next year getting the list now. We want the list now.
I say let's make a recommendation, we approve it, but we ask for the list and we reevaluate it next year.
And Mr. Tucker, I mean, I really think, I plan on next time I have an opportunity to ask around when I'm in that area, down there. Why would you not, why would you not come to our schools? And if it's probably a convenience thing. They probably work there.
When you get that far down, you're within a mile or so, less than a mile to the county line.
Yeah.
Mr. Tucker makes a motion to approve with stipulation to provide us a list of the students that this affects, not today.
And then reevaluate it next year.
Mr. Dunn, second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed likewise?
Okay.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
Mr. Bradford, please, sir.
First item I have are the financials. The only thing to note there, you'll see that hybrid stabilization account. That's just a change in the state. We used to report all that out of 204 retirement, and now they want us to carve the stabilization piece out. So it'll be money moved next month when we do our payroll amendment. And again, with the homebound teachers, we used to classify that pay that all out of the regular teacher line, and the state's wanting us to pay that out separately. But everything else in terms of the financials, we're looking in pretty good shape. But are there any questions on the financials? Therefore, I recommend acknowledging receipt of those documents.
Do I have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Mr. Collins, motion to approve.
Second.
Mr. Bradley, second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed likewise? Motion carries.
Item 2A, we have one school federal project fund budget amendment. It's just a line item move to better utilize funds in that particular program. There's an explanation there. I'm not going to read it, but I recommend approval of that amendment.
Got the amendment? Mr. Tucker makes a motion to approve.
Second.
Mr. Bradley, second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed likewise? Motion carries.
Item 2B, this is to record the sale of timber for the Blanche property in the amount of $92,500. So those funds are going back into the Education Capital Projects Fund. So recommend approval of that amendment.
Approval.
Mr. Collins makes a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Bradley, second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed likewise? Motion carries. We appreciate it. Thank you. Dr. Heath?
Points of information.
Yes, sir.
All right, under points of information, before I ask Brad to come up and talk about Skyward, one that's not listed on your paper there is I did put, or I asked Karen to put in your packet or in your on your drive the feedback, the board evaluation feedback from the focus group and from the discussion with our administrators. So just like I always tell you about my evaluation, how I'll use that for constant improvement, I'd like to I'd recommend do the same thing there. Let's take a look at that. It's valuable feedback. And then we are leaving Power School.
Definitely.
And we're going Skyward. sounds
Yes.
like, right?
We are.
You get your own logo.
Do what?
If you get your own logo.
Not yet. So Tracy and I have, we looked quite a bit at the different products. Really, there were only 2 additional vendors that were available to us. There was a third one, but the only one on that one was Metro Nashville, I believe, right? And I don't think we want to go to, Metro Nashville would consume all the resources on that one. You know, we did a lot of talking with the other districts. Of course, we looked at our proposals. Honestly, the EduPoint was probably the prettier package of the 2. And I think it would have probably been the most user-friendly package, but just some of the things with our support really caused us to pause quite a bit for them. And after talking with some of the other districts, it was what, 2 or 3 days sometimes before they would get calls back on a standard support ticket, and other companies like, oh, we try to get to it in 2 hours, and that verified out by talking with other vendors or other people who have used Skyward. Skyward had the largest number of districts in Tennessee. I think they had 57, I believe, at the time. So they definitely have a bulk of the districts that have moved over to them. They actually had a couple that were leaving EduPoint, from what I understand, that we're moving over to Skyward this year. Honestly, sometimes you just got to go with gut intuition. We thought we were doing the right thing last time with Power School, but we feel pretty good with this process. It's going to be nice this time to actually have a dedicated team that we know who they are. I think we're going to have names of people we can call to get some things done. Where now, poor Tracy has to call a 1-800 number, and it could be it's a very foreign support call number that you can barely understand what they're saying sometimes. We never thought we had to ask, is this U.S.-based call support? We learn every time we do one of these, there's more questions that you never knew you had to ask, but unfortunately we have. But I feel pretty good with this process. They do have an online registration piece, which is one of the things we've looked at in the past. I personally don't think we should overwhelm Tracy at this point and move forward with the online registration piece, not immediately. And maybe once we see how it goes later in the fall, that may be something we can revisit later on in the fall. And Tracy, correct me if I'm wrong on this, but it has a mini registration piece for all of our current students. We can do a re-enrollment once we get them all in there. They can go in there and kind of prepare for the next year, so we can kind of do some of it. The only thing we would add with the registration piece would be the ability for parents, for new students coming in, to be able to upload like birth certificates and things like that. So basically onboarding new students, there's a cost for that. But our existing students, having them fill out the user agreements and stuff like that, we can do all of that inside the what we currently have with Skyward, since we approved that contract. Am I speaking correctly on that?
So they can, anybody who's an existing student, they can go in and, in the spring, they can start their online registration again. And then also they'll have the ability, if they have a change, an address change or something, they'll have the ability to go in and make that change, and then it will be sent to that school for approval or whatever. So we'll already kind of have a little bit of practice with that process before we open it up to any new students.
Well, has it got the capability to be able to pick one of the smaller schools for enrollment and just try it at one school?
Once if we go that route, once we have a contract, we can do however we want to do. That's kind of the tack we took before, was pick a couple of small schools. I have spoken with other districts who are using online registration through Skyward, and I tell you, we didn't have any negative feedback on Skyward. I talked to and I traveled and went to several different districts and looked at both systems, and we had some negatives on EduPoint, but I did not have any negative feedback on Skyward. Everybody said, it's just like anything else. It's new, in the beginning you might have a few little hiccups, but by and large they didn't have anything negative. And the ones that were using registration did not say they had any issues with, anything being mixed up or anything like that. So they have had some good, I think they've had a good experience with it.
And a lot of that's going to come back on data cleanup on our side. It's one of the things that's always a struggle for a school system is to make sure everybody is merged under one family. That's a very difficult process because families get very disjointed sometimes, and so that's something Tracy, I know, will be working with. But it's always a struggle linking all the different families and family types together, and that's the biggest struggle with any of the online registration piece. So we need to get all of that data good and squared away before we move forward with the online registration, I would think.
And we work on that every year, but it's just, like Brad said, it's just this year, I'll be honest with you, we have done the least amount of cleanup this year probably that we just had, we've been struggling to just get through the day with Power School, so we really have not gotten as far ahead as we wanted to. I do want to mention, I had my first contact with them Friday. Today I had another call, and then tomorrow is our kickoff call. And already I have my own little web page, and I have homework for every day, what they need from us, what they expect. Like Brad said, there's a folder where we have to do cleanup. So it's very organized. I'm impressed so far with, with what I've seen. It seems very organized. We have a dedicated team who has reached out to me. So I think that we made the right choice.
It does have a couple other options as well. I've talked with Ms. Brindley, they actually have a school nutrition management piece, so she's going to be looking into that. There's a couple of districts that have gone with that. It's honestly as cheap, if not a little bit cheaper than what we're doing now. And now that it's a little disjointed trying to make the two different programs talk, there's always a little bit of a delay. So if we can take out some of that delay and it will do what Ms. Brindley needs, I think that may be something we look at as well. She's definitely interested in that. And then we're also having some issues with our call program going out. I think if some of you see that all call, your phone may be marking that as spam at this point.
Right.
So I've reached out to the company a couple times to see about trying to get that cleared up, and I have yet to hear anything back from our current provider. So they have their own thing that integrates straight in with Skyward, where right now somebody, I think it's Sonia, and then all the secretaries, they have to manually keep a separate file that they have to put into Community Safe to make all these calls. It may eliminate that extra load on those secretaries if we decide to go down this route. So we got a little planning. We need to have some discussions in-house before we go that route, but it may be another option that we consider as well. But we may wait to make sure everything's going well before we move that way.
It's just the efficiency side of it is the deal with online. And I know it hasn't been a good taste going around, but once we do get it, I think it puts us ahead.
Yes.
And makes it more efficient for the whole system.
Well, one thing I do want to mention, and we did like this about Skyward also, it actually has like a kind of like an in-house, it creates basically a folder for every student. So they, we talked about being paperless and stuff. You can put things in the folder yourself, but also as that student, like any system we've ever had, you change years and you have to go back and look at a child's year last year. This creates a child basically, and it keeps a running record, basically an online folder of everything related to that student as far as you've ever had them.
So it may help with some of our digital cumulative records that we've been trying to go forward with as well. Yeah, cumulative records. So.
And you still don't see any problem getting the data back from Power School?
That's a conversation I have to have tomorrow. That's one of the talking points that I've got to have with Skyward tomorrow. I think that has been an issue, I'll be honest with you, with some of the other districts. But I do know that the state stepped in at one point and said there was some discussion that Power School was trying to charge the district for that data, and I think the state stepped in and put an end to that. So I don't think that we'll have an issue because of the situation we've had with them, but like I said, that's a conversation, that's my
I'll be honest,
initial meeting with Skyward is tomorrow. So.
And honestly, I will I'm probably gonna have to get the state to help us with this, if they give us any pushback or if they are not responsive on this. I've already talked with, the guy that's under the chief information officer at the state that kind of handles these contracts. I talked with him a couple weeks ago. They've been pretty good asking us, hey, where do y'all stand? And they've had some good conversations, I think, with Power School. And would you like for me to share the other news about Power School? So we had purchased 2 other products. The registration piece, we went ahead and pre-purchased that for this upcoming year, and another software that was supposed to do some data analytics called Performance Matters. We had paid for that again this year. Neither one of them worked. We didn't even try the registration piece because our data was so bad. But the Performance Matters, we just had all kinds of problems with. They finally have decided, after Dr. Heaslast's email to them, to refund our money of about $43,000 for those 2 services this year. So they refunded those in full. So maybe somebody is finally rattling some chains at Power School, and this one lady, will definitely involve her with getting the data out. Maybe she can help get some things done. So.
And I would tell you, ever since this kind of took a turn for the worse, I've had a weekly call with the state. I have to, just about every Friday, I have to give a report to a couple of different people at the state. You know, where do we stand? What have they done for us this week? What are our outstanding issues? And then periodically they'll call me or call Brad or whatever. So they are very aware. We are not the only district that's had an issue, so all the districts that signed on this year have kind of been in the same boat. So the state has gotten involved and has stepped up and tried to really push them to honor, you know, their contract with us. Now, that being said, I have not had any contact with them since we turned in our, since we notified them that we were leaving. I have not been able to get a response back, so.
Probably not.
You know, I don't know how that's gonna go, but, unfortunately, we still have a few outstanding issues with them, but, you know, we're trying to work through them. So.
Any other questions for us about that? All right.
We appreciate it, and I know it's an endeavor.
It is. Poor Tracy, she's got a rough year ahead of her. We'll be helping, but Tracy's got a rough year. So.
You got anything else? The biggest thing coming up for the board is we're gonna have an April 6th board meeting, and then after that, we'll get into the budget process, hopefully hard. We don't know the timing on the state and the BEP money. I know, correct me if I'm wrong, are they wanting they're wanting it for the May commission meeting, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. That's what the county commission would like, but, you know, we're wanting to see what we've got to make the most prudent decisions for the system itself, and we'll try to accommodate that where everybody's not rushed to try to figure it out as we look at it. So that'll be coming up, and we'll pick a night I assume would be best for a board work session in regard to the budget. We're gonna keep the same format. Assume Dr. T going forward the Dropbox with everything.
Yeah, the supervisors and principals have it now. We'll be scheduling a meeting sometime in the next couple of weeks to sort of put closure on our piece of that, so we're ready to present it to you guys.
Does anybody else have anything? Again, Ms. King, appreciate you being on the board. And, do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Mr. Tucker makes a motion. Mr. Collins second. This meeting is now adjourned. Thank you.